All right, we've got a lot of news to get to this morning. We're going to talk about the stimulus update. Why don't we kick it off with that? Because we've got some breaking news out of Washington on this. We look at what's going on right now. This morning, we heard from reports out of Washington this morning that the White House is near a deal on the stimulus package. So we don't yet know all of it, but we hadn't heard anything on the stimulus, quite honestly.
But this comes just days after Jen Psaki, White House press secretary, has already said that there are certain compromises that they have already decided to make. They're paring down the stimulus, so it's not the full enchilada that Democrats had wanted, but it looks like they have some support, and now they think they can get it through both houses of Congress.
So the real rub in all of this, though, is, what's in this thing? And where we know that they compromised, right? But the sad part is that you're compromising with your own party. So this is not a compromise with Mitch McConnell. This is a compromise with the likes of Joe Manchin, right? These are Joe Manchin level compromises here. The guy, and Kyrsten Sinema, quite honestly, who has been pushing to have a lower number overall, but is also, Joe Manchin is a product of the coal industry, the energy industry. We know that he's made millions. He continues to make hundreds of thousands of dollars per year from the oil and gas, coal and energy companies, right? So he continues to take all of this money from those industries. Kyrsten Sinema has also been really frustrating Democrats. The reports this morning are saying, we don't know what she's thinking because she doesn't really meet with anybody and no one really knows what's going on. Instead, she's actually going to Europe. She's taking like a European vacation and no one knows what she's thinking or doing in all of this.
So it's not one of those things where when any congressional house puts a bill up for the vote, they know who's going to vote which way or another. It's no longer like a secret mystery.
No, they're
unless
frustrated.
You're Kyrsten Sinema.
Yeah, unless you're Kyrsten Sinema, where you're like frustrated because we don't know what the heck she's doing and what she's been lobbying for, which is also she has not been on board with the prescription drug price decrease, allowing Medicare to give people because you read a whole book on Medicare. Like, how does Medicare operate in that they're all private, right?
Yes. Okay. Medicare is a program for anyone who's 65 and above, and it basically guarantees you cheaper health insurance, but it is not free, and it is also not run by the government. It's run by the same private health insurers that you already used when you were working and had some kind of employer-based or even private-based employees. And so the government will say, okay, Natalie, you turned 65. I'm not 65 yet, by the way, but let's pretend.
No, she's not.
I turned 65 and they say, here is your eligibility papers for Medicare, go sign up. I go and do that, and then I have the exact same care that I already had, say through Kaiser, through Blue Cross, through Blue Shield, but it's subsidized by the government for the same price. And so now we're finding out, because of the Supreme Court ruling, that hospitals have to make public all of their pricing and how they surge it for different people. Now we're seeing exactly how private healthcare charges inflated prices based on who they're charging to, and all of that is being funneled, some of it through the government, some of it through private insurance. It is not a simple it follows no laws of economy, right? It's
Right.
not at all based on like the cost of the thing. It's not at all based on the cost of producing. It's not at all based on any kind of supply and demand. It's basically what is the maximum amount of profit that the pharma industry and the healthcare industry can charge, and then they charge that through either the government or through. So
it's ridiculous.
It's actually really sad because Medicare comes with Part A, Part B, Part D, Part C. Part A is hospitalization. Part B is like your medical doctor's visits.
Right.
Part C is a supplement, and Part D is your prescription drugs. And they are all super hard to understand. They all have certain restrictions on drugs that leaves people scrambling to get affordable drugs. It is a crazy plan. It's like my 5-year-old could have written it and been like, well, you get this and you get
He
this.
would do a better, or she would do a better job.
It's a really, really crazy program. And no politician will really speak out against it unless you're Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren, because they take money from this existing system.
That's a good overview. Thank you very much for that. So today, as the stimulus news is breaking out of Washington that we may have a deal, we're not clear as to exactly when we're going to hear the plan, in full, where they'll say we've got it done, it's done. But we are getting reports as to how much this thing will be. It's early indications are from reporting from Bloomberg this morning that it will be around $2 trillion. So guess who won? It wasn't Joe Biden, right? It was this guy. It was not that, well, sorry, no, not him. It was
He never wins.
No, he never wins. It was this guy. It was this guy, right? Lowering these costs, getting it down to that $2 trillion number. That's where Kyrsten Sinema also wanted to be on this price, down at this level. But we're learning also some of the things that may have been cut from this. So the reporting this morning from the Washington Post, this just in, the White House aides fear that Manchin or the parliamentarian in the Senate could tank the Clean Electricity Performance Program as part of the bill. This was a huge piece of the bill. Democrats' signature climate policy for the power sector. And it really is troubling because this is where this would remove all of that electric power program as part of this bill. This is like a big win for the likes of Joe Manchin.
And so just back up a little bit. Which stimulus, can we make that clear? Which one we're even talking about, right? Because there's the president's $3.5 trillion infrastructure plan.
No.
Right. And so
the $3.5 trillion human infrastructure plan is different, of course, than the one that's already been the bipartisan bridge and roads plan that was agreed upon back a number of months ago. Mm-hmm. So those are the two. But the one we're talking about today is the one that I care the most about, which is the human infrastructure plan. It's the Medicare prescription drug prices. It's the hearing, vision, dental coverage in the stimulus. It's extension of the child tax credit, elder care, environmental, climate, all of those things are in here. And, that's where we're really troubled that this could actually not be a part of this anymore, is certainly these climate provisions. I want to pull up this tweet from Jeff Stein, if I can, if you wanted to provide some other context. I had a tweet here from Jeff Stein, and I forgot to bring it in my rashness this morning. Here we go. Let's see here. Here it is. So here is the tweet from Jeff Stein.
Okay.
And he says, a huge story I don't think has punctured the discourse. The centerpiece of Biden's climate plan is incentive payments to the utility firms to move to clean energy. Manchin has told the White House that he can't accept it. So the White House is looking at how to weaken this plan.
Why?
So because he's a fossil fuel guy.
But if his fossil fuel companies will continue to be profitable as they transition.
But it doesn't matter. We're going to pay these fossil fuel companies, right? They're going to make money. Like, we're going to give you stipends.
And he still doesn't want that.
And he still doesn't want it. And the other thing is how much are they already subsidized, right? How much are these companies already subsidized by the federal government?
So it's less of a profit, in the short term. Right.
Like, we don't get anything.
But again, we are running out of fossil fuels. It's such a short-sighted way to think, because eventually when we're out, then there's no.
Follow the money.
Right.
That's
crazy.
So that is the reporting this morning from the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal, and Bloomberg. Bloomberg, again, reporting that we're very close to a deal, likely in the $2 trillion range for this stimulus. That's about, if you're keeping track at home, that's about $1.5 trillion less than the plan that that President Biden had wanted. And it looks like Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin have run the board here and gotten what they wanted, which is less money spent on you, less money for climate, more money for the fossil fuel industry, and maybe not a lowering of prescription drugs. But Bernie Sanders, we're hearing this morning, is adamant. Absolutely not. Nothing goes through unless these additional provisions are in there for Medicare. Vision,
so when will they...
dental, hearing, and prescription drugs.
There is no vision or dental in Medicare.
Exactly. That's what Bernie Sanders wants as part of this package. So this is his agenda.
He's saying absolutely not until...
This has to be in there. You cannot kill this, Joe Manchin. You can't kill this Kirsten Sinema. Like, these provisions need to be in this
I mean,
package.
it's not like you're going to get anything good, any good plans out of adding those to Medicare, because the medical part of Medicare is still pretty crap. But
Right.
okay, I mean, it would be something that would be wonderful.
Yeah, so according to Jeff Stein, grueling few months, but still, according to him this morning, a lot of optimism that they get a Build Back Better package agreement done soon, and we'll just have to find out if this happens this weekend or maybe pops up on the Sunday shows. But again, I should mention that Kirsten Sinema, I guess she feels like her work is done because she's going to Europe.
Maybe she likes the mystery of it. Like, I don't want you to know how I'm going to vote, so I'll just go to Europe and you'll have to wonder.
When the reporters asked her office, how long is she going to be gone?
So, well, is it really
like,
any of our
and
business?
they told her, they just said, no, we're not, like, no response. Okay, great. We don't know how you stand on this issue. You're taking money from big hedge funds at that big, big fundraiser that you did 2 weeks ago, and you're just going to Europe. Okay, that's the update. That's your stimulus update this morning. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. You can also become a channel member by going to morninginvest.com/join, where you can stick it to the mainstream media and support independent journalism. We're able to bring you the stories that you won't see on any of the major billionaire-backed networks. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time, everyone.